We back. We back again. It's been too long. Meant to stream on Thursday. Didn't stream on Thursday. Gosh, I swear it's like I past couple weeks at work have been busy. So I ended up just getting home and I'm tired. So I either like I've fallen asleep a couple times while putting my kids to bed, or time just gets away from me. Like I'm reading a book or doing something, watching a show, and I'm like, oh, it's too late now. I really don't, honestly, like, I streamed so much last year that I don't really like to stream. Like tonight, I'm probably only going to be streaming for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I really, even though I still like to stream. And honestly, streaming for an hour and a half or 2 hours at night is about my best options these days because I'm normally just busy during the day, especially obviously during the week with work. But I honestly prefer to try and stream at least 3 hours. To me, that feels good. Streaming for an hour and a half or so just seems too short, but it is what it is. Um, with the time change too, with daylight savings, that didn't help with changing the routine and stuff, especially with my kids' bedtime. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're here tonight. I think I'm gonna play Alien Isolation, but first I wanted to watch the Alien Romulus trailer again, probably for like the 30th time, I feel like. So I'm gonna watch that real quick on stream. Um, kind of go over my thoughts on it, and then probably get into Alien Isolation after that. So I'm gonna watch it first all the way through, and then I'm gonna watch it. Then I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning and kind of go step by step as to my thoughts. And this trailer actually that's on YouTube that I'll be playing doesn't include a couple little quick shots. If you look at 20th Century Studios on Instagram, it might be on, I think on Facebook as well. There are a couple quick shots before the official teaser that they show that I think are also pretty interesting. I'm not going to cover those tonight, but it's worth checking out on their Instagram or Facebook. Definitely. If you've been keeping up with the developments, Fede Alvarez, and hopefully you, I mean, you may or may not be interested in spoilers. There are some spoilers out there that you can find. I think that's a bit unfortunate, but anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna pull up the trailer here again. I'm gonna watch it all the way through once, and then I'm gonna go back and kind of go through, sort of like shot by shot, and give you my thoughts and opinions on it. So here we go. I Before we get started, I do wish, I'm kind of surprised. This is from 20th Century Studios YouTube channel. I'm really surprised that they haven't uploaded this in 4K. That's like that's pretty much that's my only complaint from this teaser. I have maybe one other small complaint, but yeah. So, here we go.
Run.
I I get chills every time watching that. That's amazing. All right. So I'm going to put it on mute and now kind of go through shot by shot what's going on. So in this first shot, you can see this ship. You'll see right here on the ship is the Weyland-Yutani logo. I cannot quite make out what this little ship's name is. It looks like it starts with a C, but I can't quite make it out. So it's Weyland-Yutani branding. I really like the design of the ship. I think from this whole trailer, but even right from the beginning when you get a shot of this kind of reminds me of the types of things that Ron Cobb, the initial design, like the original artist on Alien, or one of the primary artists on the first original movie. It definitely gives me his vibes with the aesthetic, the design, the ship design, also the space station design. I think is really interesting. So we've got this Weyland-Yutani ship going towards the space station, which is um, Fede Alvarez has talked about this on a I think it's the movie podcast on YouTube. Go look it up. It's definitely worth watching that interview. I think it's about 18 minutes ish, 18, 20 minutes long. It's very good. He talks about the teaser. He's talking about the movie, the lead up to this year's release. It's definitely worth a watch. But the biggest thing that you get from not only what Fede has said in this interview, but things that he said on his social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, what have you, you can tell that he has a lot of passion when it comes to the Alien franchise. Um, he had this story that he I wouldn't say he pitched it, but he had a meeting with Ridley Scott years ago and was talking about some ideas for an Alien movie. And it wasn't necessarily like that meeting. From the sound of it, at least, it didn't sound like that meeting was initially set up to be like, okay, what's your idea for an Alien movie? Let's hear it. But that's what it, I guess, morphed into, the conversation that he was having. And Ridley liked it at the time. And that was, I believe, right before Alien Covenant was starting to, they were about to start filming. So this would have been 2016 timeframe. So 8 years ago. And so Ridley was making his movies. Years go by, Covenant gets released, and then Ridley Scott calls him up and says, "Hey, I like your idea. Do you want to still make this?" And Fede obviously was like, "Of course I do." So if there's one thing that I was cautiously optimistic about going into this teaser trailer, was how much passion and will I enjoy, will what Fede helps produce be true to the Alien, to what Alien is. And hands down, I can say that yes, this feels like an Alien movie. I get chills just thinking about this movie. I get chills watching this teaser. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Obviously, we're still months away, and we'll see what the final product looks like. But I think it's gonna be fantastic. So, again, going back to the teaser, we have this first shot of this small ship. It kind of looks like, I don't know. I can't remember what the Torrens in Alien Isolation looked like, but it kind of reminds me of that. But it definitely gives off. I love the design. I think it looks great. It fits right in with the universe. And then you have them flying towards a space station, which Fede has said is called the Renaissance Station. And it sounds like there are two modules to this space station. I guess somehow they're linked or docked together. One is called the Romulus station, and the other called the Remus station, fittingly. And the the Romulus, I believe, is the older, sort of more alien tech. I think that's correct. I could be misstating that, but one of them has more of an alien vibe, Nostromo vibes, older tech related to this universe, and then the Remus has the more newer, more like aliens type tech. So this movie takes place 20 years after the first movie, 37 years before the second movie, and 5 years after Alien Isolation. I think that is a really good, really, really good um, time for this movie to take place. It provides a lot of interesting options as far as characters go. It provides a lot of options as far as the story goes and the plot, and it gives a lot of freedom to Fede to kind of fill in some details and enrich the alien universe. And so the ship is flying up to the space station. Apparently this space station has been abandoned for years. We don't know exactly how many years it's been abandoned. I guess 20ish, maybe 15. Because if it takes place after 20 years after the first movie, that gives us sort of a timeline as to when this station was operational. Um, Another thing that's interesting about this first shot is the rings of this planet that the space station is close to is very reminiscent to LV-223, which is the planet that the characters visit in Prometheus. And so, based on things that I've read and seen, and based on things that Fede has talked about, it's fairly. I feel like it's public knowledge that this movie does connect to both Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And the black goo that was in those movies. And so I'll be interested to see if that's actually confirmed in this movie, if this is that planet. If Weyland-Yutani decided to build a space station above the planet to research the black goo and whatnot. Again, some of the things that I talked about earlier about some of those quick shots that 20th Century posted leads me to believe that there's other things going on that I'm not going to talk about at the moment because I don't think it's common knowledge. It's not a knowledge that's necessarily been officially talked about, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so we won't get into that. But it definitely provides a lot of um, interesting plot points. So then you have this shot, this second shot, and the first thing that you notice, for me at least, is practicality, practical sets. This is all practical with the lighting and everything. Obviously, they didn't actually build a space station, but you know what I'm saying. So we have this curved hallway that's in the space station. This gives off more of like the Alien Isolation vibes. Oops. And what I like about this is that the camera, the way it's angled, is that it's at a lower level and it's backing away. So right there, just by how he's shooting this, gives off a very like it induces fear. I mean, it's as if we're in the eyes of one of the characters that's slowly backing away from something that's around the corner in this hallway, and we're trying to retreat or escape. And another thing that Fede has talked about, one of the biggest inspirations for this movie, because you'll see that it's a pretty young cast and the characters are young. And something that Fede has talked about, especially when it comes to the second movie, is in the special edition, you have a shot of a kid that's riding one of those like big wheel tricycles on Hadley's Hope. And Fede has talked about how that specific detail, having kids growing up on this colony that they're terraforming and they're having to live in this isolated in these hallways, and they can't really go outside or do anything. He's like, what would it be like for one of those types of kids as they're a little bit older in their early 20s? And so that's kind of part of the reason why he chose a younger cast, as to what are these characters going through in their heads, what do they want out of life. I think that's very interesting. Again, when you talk about the Romulus and Remus, who were brothers, that story didn't end well. A lot of the characters in this movie, he has said that they are either siblings by blood or siblings as in like they grew up together and sort of became really close to each other and have this really close bond. So I think that'll be an interesting dynamic in this movie. But again, I love this shot. I love the lighting. And I love how he's showing us backing away. And again, in the second shot. Now, this shot, it's darker. This is more reminiscent of something of the set design on the Nostromo. It's, for me, it's a lot more claustrophobic. This first shot, again, kind of reminds me of Alien Isolation. And then we go to this, which you've got these screens on the side. I love how everything, it's dirty, it's dark, it's ominous. I think it's fantastic. And it also reminds me of the first shot of the first movie, where Ridley Scott is just quietly introducing us to the Nostromo, which, even though it's not a person, is a character, hands down. And Ridley is showing us the characters, and we're just slowly being brought into the universe. And in this shot, where I have it on mute, but you have the characters, the audio, they're panicked and they're scared about something. And again, it's this backing away shot. I really like it. And then you see these cryopods, and one of them is filled with blood. The, I mean, and then it sounds like someone says "run," which is reminds me of Covenant and sort of the marketing strategy they had for that movie. It sounded like the android's voice to me, who I think the android is. Um, and then we quickly shoot to this shot of face huggers just bursting out of this room. These face huggers look a bit darker to me. Something that people have also talked about is how these face huggers have some physical differences compared to what we're used to seeing. And some of those differences include, well, it looks like they're very acrobatic, which they've always kind of been able to jump well. But they had these little like barbs. They're almost like little thorns or barbs that are on the ends of their fingers. So that's going to be very interesting. I mean, even from the shot of the cryotubes with all that blood, I just know with what Fede has produced in the past with Evil Dead, with Don't Breathe, that this is going to be like very very graphic, I think, very grisly. Um, Even though we do get that quite a bit in the Alien movies, obviously, I think he's going to take it to another level, honestly. Um, One thing that's kind of terrifying when you think about it is he said he was asked about what his favorite shot in this teaser was, and he was like, my favorite shot isn't even in this teaser. He's not giving too much away, which I think is awesome. And so that right there has me even more excited that he's not really giving too much away yet. He's just giving sort of a vibe of what this movie is going to bring. And so again, with this shot with the face huggers, it kind of reminds me of Dark Descent, which is a game that came out earlier last year in May, which is crazy to believe. That's almost a year away from that game coming out. Um, and then another thing about these face huggers that's interesting is the tails, I believe, have like a stinger on them, like a scorpion. So it's fairly well known now that face huggers are going to have a pretty big role in this movie, which I'm excited about. So we're gonna see, excuse me, what happens here. So they're running away. I love this shot. Very quick shot of I don't know if that's Kaylee Spaney's character, but again, that's a really great shot. Again, the camera's pretty low. This person is going towards something. It looks like she's being very cautious. So she either knows that she's going towards danger or she maybe doesn't know where the alien is and she's just trying to be as quiet as possible. But again, all practical effects. I think this is great. Um, Something I've tried to look at in this shot, again, this one gives me very much Alien Isolation vibes with how the hallway is. This reminds me of like the med lab area in Alien Isolation. Again, flares are a big item that you use in that game as well. But these two characters are running from something, and it someone tried zooming in. I can't really see it, so I don't know if it's true or not, but someone tried zooming in back here and it looked like there was a runner alien coming after them. It's hard for me to see. It to me, yeah, I can't really see anything there. Then you have this quick shot, someone coming through a door. They look like they're ready to kill something. Um, and okay, and another character following. This is, I think, Eileen Wu is her name. And then I believe this is the android. He's got the Weyland-Yutani logo on his uniform. Not sure what he's looking at. And then this shot again, when you look at the first shot of the cryo tube with all the blood, this shot is very disturbing to me. It's like a face hugger coming out of this person's mouth, which I think is Eileen Wu's character. If that's the case, and Fede has talked about how like he's really not trying to give too much away in this teaser. And so to me that either says that that's a bit of a misdirection here, that face hugger shot, and we're led to believe like it's one character when it's not. So we'll just have to see. Then we have this person sort of floating through this area in their spacesuit. I'm obviously something has caused either the the gravitational systems in the space station to fail, or there's been a breach, an explosion that is what am I trying to say here? There's been, yeah, a hole burst into the side or something that's compromised the space station, and therefore they had to be in spacesuits. But they're just floating. Then this person looks like they're trying to hide and waiting. I don't know if they're waiting for a door to close here or if they're just panicking. And we have another explosion. And then you have that same ship in that initial shot that is, I'm guessing, trying to escape. Not sure who's on board. And I'm also not sure if this shot right here, if this explosion on this screen is the same as this explosion. It seems like it would be logical to make that assumption, but I'm not sure. Then we go back to the face huggers, and again, you have Eileen Wu's character getting attacked. So to me, it seems logical again that that would be this shot here of the face hugger finishing its job, so to speak. And then this shot right here, probably one of my favorite shots of the whole trailer, is Kaylee Spaney's character, Rain, coming out of an elevator. It definitely gives me Ripley coming out of the elevator in the second movie vibes. And she's got this sort of like precursor, or I forget what it's called, but it's like a precursor to the pulse rifle. Because that gun isn't technically around yet as far as like the technology goes, but it's got that LED counter on the side. It looks really cool. And then bam, Alien. Another thing that I was very happy to see is that Benjamin Wallfish is doing the musical score for this, which I think is a great choice. He's done Blade Runner 2049. Um, he's done some really good stuff. So I think he'll do. He's a perfect choice in my opinion for an Alien movie. So, and Fede, I mean, he said everything he's saying and he's talking about, whether it's in interviews, podcasts, or on social media, he's saying like all the right things that makes me happy, like that makes me confident that this is going to be a good movie. He's talking about not giving too much away in the trailers, which too many movies do that nowadays, where you like know all the big twists and big um all the big scenes and moments in the movie before you even see it. So he wants to make sure that we go into the movie fresh, even if we've watched the trailers and we still don't know what to expect. He's also talked about how he wants to use practical effects and he'll only use CG when it's absolutely necessary, whether it's to enhance a shot that's has practical effects in it already, or if maybe it's a shot that's going to be too difficult to get with practically that might not look realistic. And on top of that, with the practical effects, he's gotten the whole team um, from Aliens to work on the creatures, and he's gotten people like Dane Hallett, artists, to help out with this movie as well. So he's literally saying, and the way he's talking about it makes me very, very, very happy about the story, about the characters, and about what he's trying to say. So I just think it's gonna be awesome. Um anyway, with that, that was about half an hour talking about that. I think we'll get into Alien Isolation now. I kind of want to save that part of the I might save this video, or at least part of it, because I'd like to maybe upload that to YouTube if possible. We'll see. Part of me kind of wants to start streaming on YouTube just so I can have like all my streams, just save them to the channel without having to worry about uploading it or something. But yeah, we'll get into Alien Isolation now. And I mean, he also, on top of the teaser that we also got the poster that he unveiled too, which I really want to get my hands on. You can probably see right here behind me against the wall. I have the double-sided movie poster for Covenant. So I really hope I can get my hands on the one for Romulus as well. It's hard to believe. It's been 7 years. I was looking through my phone yesterday and I came across some pictures of Covenant and like the posters and stuff when we went to go see that in theaters. It's hard to believe it's been 7 years since the last Alien movie.